Hello and welcome to a new and different video. Not even sure how to start this one. This is not exactly tech related, but it is kind of a sciencey tech video.
About a month ago.
Yeah, about a month ago, we saw a video over on Smarter Every Day, and I'd heard about this, and we'd been thinking about doing this for a really long time, but just never were able to justify it. By the way, in case I had mentioned it, this is my wife, Christina. I'm Jordan, in case you're new here, welcome. But like I said, we saw this video on Smarter Every Day about 23andMe.com, about DNA testing, about Ancestry, and about just checking markers on your DNA to see different things that you're predisposed to and maybe diseases that you could possibly have eventually or you could pass on to your kids. And it was really interesting because we've got a couple of kids, and it would be nice to know if there are things we're gonna pass along to them. Right,
so we decided we would really love to send our spit off to 23andMe and get our results back. Yeah. So we thought we would share our results with everybody.
Yeah, so we paid them almost $400 just to throw it all out there. It's about $200 per kit. You get a discount if you order 2 kits at once, and that gets you the Ancestry kit, so it tells you about all of your history, where you came from. It also gives you your whole genetic markup of different sort of markers you might tick for. Well, we'll get into what exactly it covers in a minute, but here, I'll just throw it up on the screen and show you what comes in the package that shows up at your door. Like she said, you take that and, well, actually, we'll cut to a clip from about a month ago of us doing the whole stuff. All right, so it is currently Monday, September 18th. It's about 8 o'clock at night. I have my little sample kit. Christina and I have both been filling out the online surveys and whatnot, the questionnaires and everything for this service. So it's time to submit all of our DNA and do the gross thing. Yep. That was a bit of a gross process, but we did it. And yeah, and it's ready to be placed into its little protective baggie and shipped away. So I guess we'll be back in a few days, a week, a couple of weeks. I don't know. It didn't take very long for these to show up. And lo and behold, over the weekend, the reports did arrive. I'll admit, I kind of peeked a little bit at mine.
I didn't look at everything. I peeked a little bit. I have not looked at yours at all, though. You looked a little bit.
I briefly, we were prepared up on there, matched. We're married, so it's a thing that happens. Not automatically, I invited her and stuff. So yes, I was able to see her report, she can see mine. And at this point, we'll open up laptops and tablets and whatnot and take a look at them and sort of go through some of the high points with you. So here in front of us, and I'll try to put some of this on the screen so you can see it as well, we have our reports. Now just looking back and forth between our screens here, I'm gonna see one thing that really sort of pops out right at the top of mine, and that's late onset Alzheimer's disease. It's not on the top of yours. It looks like, yeah, it's
right
slower
here.
down.
That's
but
right.
On mine, it says there's a slightly increased risk. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to end up with late onset Alzheimer's, but just to go ahead and throw it out there, my grandmother passed away last week because of late onset Alzheimer's. So it is entirely possible, and it is a increased risk, as you can see.
Mine says variant not detected, which means that my risk is lower.
It is still possible. It's not, this is no guarantee of anything. And there is Alzheimer's in her family as well.
Right.
It's just mine actually shows up. The marker, the one marker that they test on mine said possible. So that's a thing. Moving on to happier things, the Ancestry Composition. And there's, I think, some similarity here between us and some differences. Let's go ahead and click on it. I love that there's a little map here, and it kind of shows you what your makeup is. And the funny thing is, looking at yours, you've got the whole section that's in North and South America. I don't. My whole makeup is not from North. That's cool.
Yeah, mine has both sides. I have...
Yeah, just sort of all over the world for your makeup, and for me, it's mainly Europe and North Africa.
Mine's actually not North Africa at all. It's actually...
It's like Eastern Africa.
Eastern, yeah.
Yeah.
Sub-Saharan Africa.
Although, just looking at the numbers here, you can see the grand majority of both of ours, 99.8 and 99.9% European. Mine has less than 0.1% Middle Eastern and North African, and then some unassigned aliens.
They probably do that because it's not perfect.
It's not a science. It's a science that's not a perfect science.
Right.
But yours also had some other stuff in it.
Yeah, mine is 99.8% European and 0.1% Sub-Saharan African.
Which
and then,
never would have thought about that.
Right, and then I have 0.1% of East Asian and Native American. So I do know that in my family line that there is some Native American, so I figured that would show up on here. Yeah,
and actually if you drill down into these different sections, for example, if I click on European, it pops out a section showing, for me, 78.3% British and Irish, and knowing like my grandmother's family was all from England and my grandfather's family was all Irish. There's a little bit of French and German. My grandmother who just passed away, her family was German. I got that wrong there. But then yours, you've got...
For British and Irish, mine is 69.8%, and then I actually have more French and German. I have 10.8%.
But then you've got some interesting Southern European stuff in there. I don't have anything like that.
Oh, you don't have that. Yeah, I have Southern European, and I have...
And I see that like the Iberian Peninsula, Iberian there.
Yeah, 0.3% Iberian.
And the cool thing about this is you can actually take these kind of things, go to your family, and sort of work on your family history, your background, if you don't already know it. Because I know my family has gone back generations and generations to find out exactly where we came from. I know my grandmother's family on my dad's side, they were horse thieves from England that made their way over to the U.S. with stolen horses. So that's the British part.
I believe my aunt did a little bit of research and found some of our Irish ancestors, a few.
But either way, this does give you something you can sort of go back to the rest of your family and say, look what I found, and see if they know anything else about it. Like the sub-Saharan Africa stuff. That would be really cool to learn about. And there's even a timeline down at the bottom that shows you when the different parts of your ancestry may have come into the generations of your family.
That is really neat. My Native American ancestry is from beginning in the 1700s through the 1800s. That's really neat.
Which is about the appropriate time frame.
Right, because I believe it was in line with my great-great-grandparent. Neat.
Yeah. Now let's move on to sort of more of the fun stuff that comes along with some of this testing. Just some of the things about yourself you probably knew, but seeing if it's DNA influenced or anything related to that. So just going down the list here, one of the first things I see here besides ancestry is lactose intolerance. It says I'm likely lactose tolerant.
Right. I'm also likely tolerant.
Woohoo! Saturated fat and weight, I am likely similar weight. Just clicking into that and taking a look at it, your weight is likely to be similar on diets high in saturated fat with the same number of calories as otherwise.
We could technically eat a diet high in saturated fat, and our BMI would be similar to a diet if we ate less saturated fat.
Yeah, but either way, it's nice to see that's not going to be an impact. It's more other factors.
Yeah, mine says likely similar weight as well.
There's an asparagus odor detection. I'm curious to see if you have this.
I likely can smell.
Yeah, I'm according to this, I'm likely to be able to smell the asparagus metabolite in my pee. So if I eat a lot of asparagus, I will smell it.
I can too.
Woohoo!
Bitter taste. I believe this one is wrong.
Yeah?
On me. None of this is exact.
Yeah, it's just it's guesses. When I peeked earlier, I did see that there were some things that were wrong here. Mine says bitter taste. Likely I can taste it. I can taste bitter.
For me, likely you cannot taste bitter compounds.
It says 66% that she couldn't taste it, and she can.
I am very, very sensitive to bitter taste.
And all tastes. Anything related to smell, because
I have a hypersensitive smell.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I can taste bitter. That's interesting, though.
Let's see. Sweet taste. Likely prefers sweet. That's me, if you've met me before.
Right, which is funny, because ours is different. So mine does not say that. Mine says likely prefers salty, which is totally true. I love any kind of salty snack.
If we come home from work or something after a long day, I'm very likely to go after something that's chocolate, and she's likely to go after a bag of chips, and that hit the nail on the head there.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. Neanderthal ancestry, though, that's fun. Fewer Neanderthal variants than 73% of customers, which means that I have not a lot of Neanderthal variants.
I have less than you. I have less than 76%.
Yeah, so I am slightly more Neanderthal, and you can see by the unibrow. There's a whole lot of variants not detected here on both of ours, like macular degeneration and alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. I don't know. And thrombophilia. There's another one in here, though, alcohol flush reaction. Do you have that?
I actually say unlikely to flush.
Same here. And what that means, I looked it up just a minute ago, means that if you drink one drink of alcohol, a lot of people will flush. They'll turn bright red, they'll get a little bit warmer. That is not going to happen to us, and in my experience, it doesn't. So that was correct. Caffeine consumption, this one may be wrong. Mine says likely to consume less.
Yes, mine says likely to consume less as well, and I do consume less than the average
She's a whole lot less than I am, but I'm a lot more than... I can go off of caffeine at any time. I just don't want to.
He gets really bad headaches if he doesn't drink caffeine.
It's one of the legal drugs that I'm all about.
And these are totally true. The next one is deep sleep. Mine says less likely to be a deep sleeper. And I am not a deep sleeper. I toss and turn and
have trouble getting to sleep.
Yeah, I have trouble going to sleep.
Although there are some others that tie into that, like sleep movement.
Likely more than average movement, which is true. I turn around and
And mine says likely average or less movement. And generally, when I lay down, I get in a position I don't move for the rest of the night.
I'm all over the place. So that is really true. Now, this one is very, very, very funny because these are different for us. For the muscle composition, they are very different. I think this is a very interesting thing.
It says muscle composition. In my case, my genetic muscle composition is uncommon in elite power athletes.
So what this means is, let's see.
I do not have the same genetic variant as the type of power athletes you'd find in sprinters, throwers, jumpers. I'm not genetically predisposed to be a power athlete.
But mine says is common in elite power athletes.
So she has the same kind of genes as you might find in someone who's a ultra fast sprinter. There's a lot of stuff covered in here I did not expect.
Yeah,
there's also like genetic weight, and this one is kind of odd to me too. Predisposed to weigh about average. And I guess technically, depending on how you look at it, for the US, I am kind of average.
Mine says predisposed to weigh less than average. And for most of my life, I have weighed less than average. Actually, my BMI is usually in the normal.
And we'll not go into mine. Moving on. Let's get into the hair, because that's always fun with me too. Back hair. Does yours have a back hair section?
Mine does not have a hair section at all. It has a hair curliness.
Oh. Well, for mine,
lighter, dark
it says
hair.
I likely have little upper back hair. You want to check?
You don't have a lot.
I have a little.
You have a little. You don't have a lot.
Bald spot? Likely no bald spot.
Which is not true.
I beg to differ.
Unfortunately.
Although, if you would have seen my family this weekend, I think I got the good hair of the bunch.
Right.
There's a couple of younger guys that have really nice hair, but at least I still have mine.
Yeah, there's some people that have no hair on the top at all.
So the in terms of the family predisposition, I'm glad that I went in the direction I did. I have my dad's hair. I have my grandfather's hair. I'm okay with that.
Let's see. For hair from mine, it says likely light hair. It says light or dark, and I do have lighter hair. And it says newborn hair amount, likely little baby hair. So does that mean for me or for the children I have?
You were likely to have been born with little or no hair.
I was actually born with hardly no hair.
Yeah, and the rest of the hair stuff on here for me, except for all the stuff about baldness, was pretty straightforward and pretty right on. Light or dark hair, mine's pretty dark. Male hair loss, likely no hair loss. Like I said, that one was not right. Newborn hair amount, likely little baby hair. I think I didn't have very much. I was a little young, so I can't remember. Hair curliness, straight or wavy. It's pretty straight, but it does have some waviness. I need a haircut, so it is getting a little curly.
For that one, mine says likely straight or wavy, and mine is straight in some places, and it's a tiny bit wavy. Yeah. But my hair is not curly.
Now there is one here that I'm completely, it's wrong on for me. The Photic sneeze reflex. If you're not familiar with this, take a step outside into the bright sunlight. If you sneeze, you're having a photic sneeze reflex. I do that. And both of our kids do that.
I do not do that. Mine says likely no photic sneeze reflex. I do not do it in the sun. Both of our sons do, so they got it from him.
But mine says likely no photic sneeze reflex. So that's very wrong.
One thing on mine also, it says for cheek dimples, it says likely no cheek dimples, but I do have I do have cheek dimples. That one's actually wrong. But it does say likely no cleft chin, and I do not have a cleft chin. Mine
says likely no dimples and likely no cleft chin, and I've definitely got some dimples there, and if I lose a little weight, you can see it easier. I do have a cleft chin as well.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
For eye color, mine says likely darker eyes, which is not correct. I actually have my glasses on right now, but I have green eyes.
Yeah, it's kind of right in the middle. I mean, it depends on what your definition of light and dark. Mine are definitely, I think, lighter.
Yeah, yours are blue and
almost gray.
Yeah. What does yours say for that? For the eye color.
Eye color, likely lighter eyes. So 98% of customers genetically similar to you have blue, green, or light hazel eyes.
Okay, well.
Click on yours. Dark hazel, light brown, or dark brown. So maybe you're a little off there. Red hair. There's one in here about red hair. Likely no red hair. My beard gets a little bit red right around this area. That's some of the old Irish heritage coming through, but I don't have red hair in the rest, so that makes sense.
I don't have red hair. Mine says likely no red hair. I don't.
And then there's stuff about lengths, which is always fun to go into.
Yes, that is.
So there's like the toe length ratio, which I'm not going to like put my toes on camera, but likely the big toe is longer. You're likely to have a longer big toe than a second toe.
Nope. You don't.
I don't.
No, you have a longer second toe than big toe.
I think I do, yeah. It's real close, but my second toe is definitely longer.
Yeah, likely second toe longer is what mine says, and that is true for me. Mine, I like this one. This is funny. It goes back to hair, but it says unibrow. Likely little or no unibrow. Mine is little. I get my eyebrows
Mine
waxed.
says likely little or no unibrow, and mine is thick.
Yeah,
It's not thick like Anthony Davis or anything like that, basketball player, but
Right.
it's definitely there. I'm going to just put my glasses up so you can't see that. There's a bunch of things in here about diseases. For me, everything says variant not detected, so not a whole lot of reason to go through that, but there are possible genetic markers for diseases you could get or you could pass on to your children, so this is something that can be tested in there.
The one that I thought was interesting for me, especially, I mean, there's a lot of them on here.
A bunch on
Mine
here.
all say variant not detected. The one that was most interesting to me, though, was there are 3 types of muscular dystrophy that they test the variant for. Mine all say variant not detected. I don't know what the variant is. I had a family member with muscular dystrophy. I like that I don't have the variants for these 3 types. I don't know if this was I don't know what type he had.
Yeah,
But
at the same time, when we were having our kids, they did test for that, and they were able to tell earlier that wasn't going to be an issue for them as well, right?
Right. So it's unlikely that I'm a carrier, which is good.
But it's nice to be able to see it from a DNA report as well as the previous doctor visits that we've had. But either way, there's an awful lot of stuff covered by this. Hopefully we covered enough of it. If you are interested in signing up for 23andMe.com, getting your own custom report, like I said, it's expensive. It's probably not something you're going to want to do because if you want the whole thing, it's $199, which means that we paid almost $400 to have this done. But it's something we were curious about and something we always wanted to do. I don't have any sort of affiliate link or anything with them, but if you do want to go sign up, I'll put a link down in the video description. Maybe I'll link out to Destin's Smarter Everyday one because he does great stuff and I want to support him.
He does.
But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. We definitely appreciate it. And it was great to have an opportunity to do this. So anything else you'd like to say?
No.
No. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hit that thumbs up if you liked it. We definitely appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here or if you just haven't already. And check that little notification bell so you get notifications when new videos come out. We'll see you again next time.